So do you think we ought to close the books on February? Silver plunges from $24.50 all the way down to $20.50. Not a good month. Gold did not fare much better. We're going to dig into some interesting information regarding why that happened. But more importantly, what we need to talk about is, will this continue to happen? Will we in 1 month be saying, we need to close the books on March because silver dropped another $4 per ounce? Let's dig in and see what we think is going to happen over the coming 30 days to the price of silver, to the price of gold. We got a lot more to talk about as well. I have a new sponsor that I am super excited to tell you about. And unfortunately, Susie, my wife, is mad at me. I'm going to share with you a little bit about that as well. Let's get started right now. Your thoughts matter. I want to hear from you what you think is going on in the silver market. I'm going to tell you what I think, what the mainstream media press is saying, but what do you think? Your thoughts are important, but first, I'm about ready to give up on that bell. Susie's supposed to run down here and offer to refill my coffee, and it's just not happening. Now, I can't really be too surprised today. Susie's a little mad at me. You know how husbands and wives, any relationship, sometimes we get a little perturbed with each other, on each other's nerves. Every morning, before I come down here, I always take a shower. And what I always say, because it's what my mom would tell me when I was a kid, is I'm gonna hop in the shower. And for some reason, that really bugs Susie. So I stopped saying it, but this morning what I did was I started hopping around the family room, and my daughters thought it was hilarious. They were laughing. And Susie said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm getting ready to hop in the shower." So she's not really talking to me much right now. So it doesn't surprise me that the bell ringing, coffee down here thing is not working. I was thinking maybe I'll make an appointment with a marriage counselor, and I could just hear it, like, yeah, she's mad at me because I say I'm going to hop in the shower. And then Susie will say, yeah, and he's got a bell in the basement, and when he rings it, he expects me to bring him coffee. It'd be an interesting marriage counseling appointment. You're not here to hear about my personal life. You're here to talk about silver. So let's dig in. What caused silver to plunge during February? It was bad, guys. Number one, Federal Reserve. People think the Fed is going to be more hawkish. The impression, the thoughts regarding future Fed monetary policy, interest rates, let's make it simple, okay? Interest rates. The expectation now is that the Fed is going to be more aggressive because the economy's doing great, right? Oh, the economy's so strong. All these 500,000 jobs that were created. Retail sales were great, right? And inflation is remaining persistently high, which in the long run will be good for the price of silver and gold. But for now, what it looks like, what the market is thinking is like, oh, the Fed's going to have to be more hawkish. And we've got all these Fed governors, right? Boulard from here in St. Louis, who are out saying, oh, we need to raise rates forever and ever and ever, right? So that's what killed the price of silver. Precious metals in general is this hawkish tent. But there's more. There's two more key things we need to talk about. Thank you for joining me here in the basement. You are the most important part of Ron's Basement from wherever in the world you are right now. I appreciate your time. I bet if I rang the bell, you'd bring me a cup of coffee down here in the basement. Seriously, I hope you found a little home away from home, some camaraderie. I consider you a friend. Please come back, leave a comment in the comment section below. Don't you just love those wise sayings? I told Susie this fact that me hopping in the shower bugs her so much. I said, you know what? I said, if that's the worst thing about me that bugs you, you're living pretty high on the cream, right? Like there could be a lot more serious things that I do, like hang out in the basement all day making YouTube videos that could bug you. But if that really is the biggest thing that bugs you, hey, we're doing pretty good. And I hope you know, I love my wife, Susie, more than anything in the world. I am super fortunate. I need to get back to silver, and I need to tell you about the new sponsor that I have for Ron's Basement that I am super excited about. But the next big deal that really hurt the price of silver we need to look at is the fear of the economy doing bad. Now, that runs kind of contrary to the first point where I said the economy is doing good so the Fed can be more hawkish, but there's also this fear in the market that a recession is coming. And since a lot of the demand for silver comes from the industrial sector, right? Electronics, cars, solar panels, all that, people are afraid that the industrial demand for silver could tick down, and that would hurt the price of silver. But, these metals, they look out into the future, so it's already hurt right now. Now, another component of the economy slowing that could hurt silver would be on the investment side. A lot of us silver stackers, right? We're more retail level investors. So if the average guy on the street, and they are hurting, right? People have record levels of credit card debt. People are having a hard time making ends meet, so they don't have as much disposable income to go to the coin shop and buy 10 ounces of silver. That can also be perceived as a potential source of weakness in the silver market. Now, I want to tell you about my new sponsor. I am super excited about this, and it's an exclusive sponsor. I only will take one sponsor at a time. It's a company that I've owned stock in for years, First Mining Gold. I'm going to tell you a lot more about them in the future, but there's a link in the description below to the website, to their Director of Investor Relations, Paul Morris. If you have any questions, check the company out. It's very interesting. They have two of the largest undeveloped gold projects in Canada. Springpole, which is in Ontario, it has over 5 million ounces of gold. And the Duparquet project, which is in Quebec, it also has more than 5 million ounces of gold. They have huge land packages, so they can do a lot of exploration to even add to the amount of gold that they already have up there. And they have a host of other projects they're coordinated on. I won't go on and on. Check them out. If you have any questions, like I said, you can email Paul. He's great about getting back to people. Let's get back to the price of silver. I'll tell you the third reason why silver and gold were down in February, because the price is rigged. I just finished reading a great book by a guy named Stuart Englert. The title is Rigged: Exposing the Largest Financial Fraud in History. I'll put a link to it in the description below. You can get it on Amazon. It was a fascinating read about the history of price rigging in the precious metals market and up-to-date information with what goes on even today. It wasn't that long of a book, but it really talked about all the different theories and proof that there's been coordinated efforts to keep the price of gold and silver down. Now, let's talk about the future, right? I do believe that the future still looks bright for gold and silver. Let me know how you see it. What I could see playing out in the near term is the economy slowing, right? We're already hearing it. I won't go through the whole list, but as soon as the economy slows, and that's recognized, the Fed's going to have to loosen up a little bit, okay? Now, the other big key component to consider is inflation. We aren't seeing inflation coming crashing down. So they're going to be in a box, right? They're going to have an economy that's slowing, that's going to need loose monetary policy, money printing, however you want to call it, and at the same time, inflation. Guys, I'm going to beat the table. I'm going to ring the bell. I know I'm not going to get any coffee out of that, but nonetheless, right, that is stagflation. Okay, it's been a week since I preached about this, but remember, stagflation is the most fertile soil for the growth of the price of silver and gold. That is an absolute fact. Read a little bit about it. Read about what happened in the 70s and 80s when we had stagflation. The price of silver and gold skyrocketed. It's going to be interesting no matter how this plays out. Remember, I don't have a crystal ball, right? We just do our best to read the information that's out there. We want to try to figure out, we want to see the forest through the trees. And, a lot of us believe that on the other side of that forest, there's a nice big pot of silver and gold. I always appreciate you joining me here in the basement. Watch another video. Subscribe if you want to come back, but know that you are always welcome here.